In 5, 4, 3.
Good evening, everyone. This is the Pmbc meeting for January 12th, 2022. The first order of business is a call to order, which we have just done. The next will be review the warrant. We only have 2 invoices on the warrant. Can you see the warrant?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. We only have 2 invoices on the warrant this meeting. The first one is for Commodore Building for November in the amount of $153,835.21. That was recommended for approval by Vertex.
Okay.
And then we have Russo Bar Associates, $9,900 for the completion of the investigation work at the high school roof, which I think we sent over to everyone. And Brian will be talking about that a little bit later, but great report and very thorough.
Great.
Any questions?
I had a question. I have no problem with Commodore's work. I was just wondering, I looked through some of the invoices from Littleton Lumber, and there were some materials, like, and I think in one case, 20 sheets of sheetrock. And I was just wondering if that is normal to charge that to the owner after the job has been bid, or is that, I've never been involved in the end of a job like this, so I don't know how that stuff works.
Well, that was in November.
Yeah.
If you want me to speak to that, Steve, yeah. So that invoice came in November. This could be it could be a couple different things. It could be work for correction work that had been done leading up into that month of October and November, or it also could have been leftover invoicing that had been done on an account down at Littleton Lumber that they had been closing out.
Right. I mean, there were accounts for invoices from the whole year. So, they didn't present them before. So, okay. I was just curious.
Yeah, I got to tell you, Bartlett, I get invoices in at the MBTA, and they'll be for a couple of $1 million, and some of them will have charges from 3, 4, 5 months ago that they're just catching up with. So I don't find that terribly unusual.
Okay.
So any other comments, questions?
Make a motion, we pay the warrant $163,735.21.
Motion made by Bob Romley. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Bartlett seconds. We'll do a roll call vote. Bob?
Bob Romley, yes.
Bartlett?
Bartlett Harvey, yes.
Rich?
Richard Crowley is a yes.
Tamlin?
Tamlin Rossius, yes.
Who else is on the call? I can't see.
Mr. Scuduto has joined you.
Mike Scuduto?
Mike Scuduto, yes.
And is
Brian Pasquale's, yeah.
Yeah,
oh, good.
I just
Brian.
jumped on, Steve, sorry.
Okay, good. So and Steve Moore, yes. So the motion is unanimous. Motion carries. Thank you very much. We'll go back to the agenda. Approve the minutes from December 22nd as amended. Any comments or questions? Is there a motion?
Move we approve the minutes.
Rich Crowley makes motion. Who seconds?
I can second it.
Bob Romley will second it.
All right.
There was a tie and Bartlett won. Roll call vote. Bob?
Bob Romley, yes.
Bartlett?
Bartlett, yes.
Mike?
Mike Scuduto, yes.
Tamlin?
Tamlin Rossius, yes.
And Brian?
Brian Pasquale, yes.
And Steve Moore, yes. Okay.
And
Unanimous.
Rich Crowley's a yes as well.
And who?
Rich Crowley is a yes as well.
Didn't I catch you?
Not this time around.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that, Rich.
I feel so left out.
So a library update. Brian, you want to give us an update?
Sure. Thank you for having me, and I'll try to make sure I hit on all the items that you have there on the agenda. We had a walkthrough today with a carpenter from the contractor as well as the architect and a representative from Vertex to make sure that the punch list is being closed out, and if there are any other lingering items, we want to make sure that they're being addressed immediately. Since our grand opening and ribbon cutting, we've been operating under a temporary certificate of occupancy due to 2 items that were identified by our building commissioner. One was the fire alarm strobes at the rear of the building where they were installed when we had the end panels of the shelving put on. They were obstructing some of the flashing of the strobes, so those needed to be raised up. And the other issue was the automatic door opener for the front door. It was working when it felt like it. So we needed to order a new board to be installed inside of that had a little bit of a lead time. It was received last week. It was installed last Friday. So as of this afternoon, Sam Alvarez, the library director, was calling Ed Mullins to issue the final certificate of occupancy for the building.
That's great. That's wonderful.
So congratulations to the town on getting that final occupancy permit.
Yeah, that's big.
So regarding punch list, I believe that we've got a very dwindling list right now. We still have the retainage and some very small contract money being held on the contract in order to take care of that. As well as I've spoke with town departments in conservation regarding some of the erosion control that we still have. We weren't thrilled with the establishment of the grass on the hillside, so we were going to wait for the spring, see how it reacts there, if we need to take any action. But for the time being, we're going to leave the erosion control in place until the weather warms up, and then we will decide on taking that out. That's per Amy Green at the Conservation Commission.
Brian, are we holding enough money there?
Yes. Yep.
Right.
And
Brian,
the
this is
the grass not establishing, that's actually it's not grass, it's kind of a wildflower mix that's on that hill.
Okay.
Doing a little bit of research on that, I've been told that it does take a little bit in order to establish. So
Yeah. The how many grow seasons are they responsible for?
1.
Just one. So that would mean now grow seasons. Sometimes they'll say the fall is a grow season and the spring is a grow season. Are we talking annual or just one of those?
I'll look through. I think that does fall under just the overall 1-year warranty. I'll see what the grow season. I'll look at the spec on that to see what the specifics are for it.
Then maybe if they don't pop in the spring, we push it out for 12 more months.
Right.
Yeah.
Good point, Rich. Yep.
From a MEP commissioning standpoint right now, I believe we're about 90% complete. Commissioning agent had 3 items on his non-conformance log. The mechanical filed sub-bid will be out there this week to work on those to make sure that those are completed. He will finish his commissioning report. We also had a meeting with him, myself, and Joe Layden regarding a preventive maintenance plan, which kind of consolidates a lot of our as-builts, our drawings, and puts together some suggestions and schedules for any future facilities manager or anybody that's going to be running the building.
That's great.
Give us a proposal for it's relatively short money in comparison to the overall commissioning scope. I recommended that we move forward with that, and I believe, I don't want to speak for Joe, he's on the call as well, and I think he seemed as though it was a pretty good idea to have for this facility. I also think it going forward for any new facilities in the town, that should probably be standardized so that each building has its own language and everybody can, if there's one manager that's running all of town's facilities, they would understand that, each building has its own language and here's the binder for it. So,
when I did the various schools, I made sure that we didn't get proprietary language. I made sure that the HVAC systems could talk to each other.
Yep.
So that one eventual town facilities manager could bring everything up on one laptop.
Right.
So we looked at the high school and we made the middle school the same control system, and the Russell Street School is the same control system. I don't not sure if we were successful with the police station or the firehouse, but is this got a separate system from those other facilities?
Yes, this one was a, forget the name. I can reach out to Viking. They're with controls contractor, but they're pretty much a standalone system that they have there.
That's too bad, because that means separate parts and everything.
You know, we could deal with them, and we could also engage with the commissioning agent too about, you know, kind of streamlining a front end document, kind of like a user interface where that can be referenced from other locations.
Yeah, this is the value of having a facilities manager to help us out with all this stuff.
Yep. So that's where we stand with commissioning. I foresee maybe a couple more weeks with that. We would have all the documentation that we need.
Yeah. One of the other things we did in town was we went with the non-proprietary elevator system, so that the controls the controls would be swappable. We looked back at the high school and tried to do this, mimic the high school in terms of the controls for the elevator. Same with the middle school. Not sure what we did with the fire station, but you think that was looked at as well, Brian, or not?
Not that no, I don't believe so. You're talking regarding the elevator?
Yeah, because that way you can have one set of spare parts instead of having
Right.
three or four or five sets of spare parts.
Well, the fire station doesn't have an elevator, but I can't speak to the other facilities in town.
But,
All right, so
it does have a pole.
Does have a pole, right? Yeah. The control system for the pole is really archaic, though. Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
going forward, you know, the Shaker Lane's coming up, and that's going to need. We got to look to make sure we integrate that control system and the elevators with the more common controls and elevators we have in town, so we don't have 7
So,
different systems.
Shaker Lane, we just put a new lift in there. It's not an elevator, it's a lift, ADA
Okay.
lift.
All
So
right.
anyway, not to get off the subject here,
Right,
but
yeah.
let's move on.
Sure.
Brian, what's going on with the solar panels?
Yep, I have that on my list here. So I just
Okay.
to put a bow in some of the paperwork. Commodore, at the request of the building commissioner, they've been uploading all of our operation manuals, warranties, as built onto the town's viewpoint system. So that's being able to be accessed by the building department. We've also will have kind of a thinned out version for Sam Alvarez to reference during our warranty period. If there's anything that goes wrong, he'll have a full list of contacts that he can reach out to in order to remedy any situation, including mine. So we're about 98% complete in uploading everything that's required per the contract onto Viewpoint. Regarding our financials, I have a meeting once now that our occupancy permit and all the other maintenance has been complete. I'll be having a meeting with the senior PM from Commodore to do a final change order to the project. I've been told our preliminary numbers is looking like it might be a deduct change order, would be a credit back to the town based upon their GMP, which is a positive. So I think that we're sitting in a good position here where we still were able to leave our town's contingency untouched while absorbing all of the change orders that we had under the original GMP.
See, that's the real benefit to go and see them at risk.
Yep.
I hope they do that with the senior center.
Yeah, I have to say, I think that the benefit of going CM at risk, it not only does it help my headache with some of the arguments that we have, but it, in my opinion, on this project, it did pay for itself.
Yeah, I don't know that the senior center would qualify, but we could certainly investigate it.
But anytime you have interaction with the public, you should go see them at risk. Anytime you have kids in the area, see them at risk, or difficult conditions on a site, see them at risk. Because those 3 elements will kill you with change orders.
Yeah, I agree.
I think
So,
that
Brian and Joe, we probably should investigate with the IG if that's feasible for the senior center.
yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah,
think we can bring that up to them for
It's
sure.
just a matter of applying. Yeah.
I know that for the library project, that it did take a little bit.
Yep.
Maybe some of it was our fault with the submission and application, but I do remember it did take a little bit of time. So we'll start the ball rolling early on that.
I could help you fill it out. I've had
That'd be
dealt
great.
with many times with the IG's office. Mary, do you
Great.
deal with Mary over there?
But yes, I believe that's her name. Yep.
Yeah, she knows me. So I can help you fill it out. So that
Great.
you just need to give them a reason. And when you're that close to the public, that's it. That's all you
Yep.
need.
Yeah, I think the biggest benefit of Sam at Risk was the just the slope of the hill and building our library into that type of a steep grade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it had some challenges to it, and Commodore bringing their expertise to the table actually changed the design and saved us some money. So
Great. Well, you got my contact information, Brian,
I do.
when it
Thank
comes
you.
time.
So anything else on library?
Yes, the solar package that I just need to give a quick update on.
Yeah.
We were unsuccessful in receiving a bid for our solar package. So that was the result a couple weeks just before Christmas. I had a conversation with some of the plan holders that pulled the plans. They had grave concerns about lead times and procuring materials by the date that we were asking for them to install it by.
Yeah.
So we
As
currently,
well as LDs, right?
yeah, well, we put a date on there and we said, if you can't do it, we put liquidated damages on top of it. So for a project that size, which we estimating around 150 grand, it wasn't worth the risk for a lot of these vendors. So we've reached out to town council, and we've also reached out to the state representatives that Mark Rambarker's been working with in order to achieving this grant. And we are trying to make sure that we satisfy all parties before we put this out to bid, to making sure that the town minimizes their risk on paying for some product if it's not on site yet, but while also satisfying the state, satisfying the state to make sure that they're still going to pay the town. So more to come. I'm waiting for an update from Jenny from town council. And once we hear from that, we will probably be going out to bid shortly thereafter.
Hey, Brian, are you familiar with XRFs?
I'm
The
not.
credits, the solar credits?
Oh, the Rex?
Yeah, SRFs, I think they call them.
Oh,
It's a credit.
I'm familiar with the.
No, they're Krebs, CREBS.
Then we got to make sure that we get those.
I don't
Okay,
know that
so-
they're still available, but we can look into it.
Oh, yeah. I was talking to a solar guy not too long ago. They're still there.
Okay.
They're not worth as much as they used to be, but they're still there.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's definitely make sure that we get them instead of the solar
Clean
company.
renewable energy credits.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's where we stand with library.
Definitely check the
police-
contract. Yeah.
Police station.
Police station, we can keep it quick. Construction is complete. We're in the process. We've achieved our substantial completion certificate, making sure that the contractor will be providing us all the as-built warranty and closeout documentation, and that's put up on Viewpoint because I know that was a sticking point with our old police station documentation. We couldn't find anything when we were looking for the envelope as-built. So we'll make sure we get all of that doc before we approve their final payment. And then I'll be going through and providing the DCAM the DCAM scores, providing those to the Attorney General's office, and then we'll be allowing the waterproofing company to apply for their final payment.
Yeah, PMBC wants to be part of that DCAM review.
Absolutely.
Okay. Littleton High School roof, Brian.
Sure. So I received, I think everybody was distributed the copy of the report that Russo Bar put together about the roof. Came out, I think it was dated just before Christmas. They did some field work on the roof. They did an infrared scan and some roof cuts that showed, basically concluded what we already knew from the Garland report, which is that they suggested the roof be replaced. This report had quite a bit more detail, though, with the scans and the cuts. They found that all the insulation on the roof was pretty soaked through and wet. So there's a few other issues, more detailed issues regarding weeps and things like that need to be addressed too. But the gist of it is that we need a roof replacement. They did a construction cost estimate within there, which was about 475,000.
It is low
You think that's low, Mike?
by 50 grand on the roofing.
Okay.
What was that, Mike?
The roofing cost, he's at $22 a square foot. Current market cost is like 28 to 30 for
Okay.
that type of roof. So it's like
Okay.
50 grand.
That's good to know.
Yeah. Thanks, Mike.
And anyway, the estimate from Garland originally was 575 to 675. So, tacking the 50 on top of that puts us at 525. It's still a little bit lower. And they recommended a single ply roofing system, EPDM or PVC, rather than the 2-ply that Garland was recommending. So I'd like to get the go ahead to move towards CDs and put in a bid package together to get a roofer to price this up. But what I'm not sure of is what our limit is for a designer before we have to go to public bid. I know in my day job, we were recently in our fiscal year approved to go up to 50,000, but I'm not sure, what our flexibility is with the town.
25. Joe?
Sorry, you'll have to repeat that. I actually had to step out of the room for a quick sec.
Brian, I think I can provide you that. It's kind of a matrix from the state website that
Right.
gives you procurement thresholds that you have to hit and what you have to do in order to satisfy bringing someone on board.
Okay.
Hey, Mike, when you're finalizing the documents, make sure that you got patching metal deck, a certain amount of allowance for patching metal deck, because anytime you get that amount of roofing, it's wet that amount of time, you're going to find some compromised deck in the mix. So to cover ourselves, we should make sure we get a certain amount. The engineer's report might even allude to a certain amount. I don't know.
They did. They did make that note, Rich, that they already noted some areas that they thought the deck would need to be replaced.
Perfect. So there's your allowance. And PVC, we're using PVC every chance we can because it's good for at least 30 and even further out than that, if we can get it. Now, generally it's we get white PVC, but it depends, that's something the architect can talk about because PVC comes in all different colors and maybe they want a darker color to help heat up the building. Maybe they want white to stop the heat island effect.
Well, they're going to have the stretch code for insulation, so I don't think the color is going to make a great deal of difference.
They'll be going with white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Joe, do you know the threshold for putting design out for bid without competition?
Not off the top of my head. I'd have to just look at the spreadsheet. So I had to step out briefly. I had a dog scratching at the door, so I missed part of the conversation, but can easily follow up with Brian and Brian to get more details so that can provide that.
Yeah, my sense is, talking to Brian Pasquale earlier this week, that we're kind of right on the threshold and we probably need to put it out for competitive bid, or professional services, I guess it is. So if we could get some kind of determination, then we can kind of move forward with that.
Okay.
And I would assume we're going to be able to fund this from the 800,000 from the school budget on this, because we don't have enough money. We used Pmbc engineering funds for the investigation, but going forward, I think part of the design and the construction documents need to come out of that school fund.
I think we should bring Steve in and talk to him, I can let him know
if you
Yeah.
if you want to reach out to him, Steve.
Well, I invited him to tonight's meeting, hoping that he would show up. But yeah, you know, if you want to reach out to Steve, that's fine. Yep. Thanks,
Steve,
Tim.
wasn't there money appropriated for that roof back a couple of years ago?
800,000. So we have money.
Yeah,
It's just that I believe that going forward, the design and construction services need to come out of that fund.
well, it's part of that project. I don't see any reason why it can't come out of
Well,
it.
exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
So anyway, moving on to the senior center. I know Joe is here to talk about that.
Okay. Thanks. So I know one of the questions that everyone had was sort of as relates to LB's continued work on this. Last week we had a call with town council, Steve, Anthony, and went over the history as far as how the RFQ was competitively advertised and had allowances to go through design and language that the town could choose an option for going through design and construction plans. So right now there's a small working group that has been meeting to try to develop more of the program. It's been led a lot from a programming standpoint from the Elder and Human Services Director, Liz. And we actually on Monday, if you don't mind me just sharing, a Monday select board meeting, we had Liz present a website that we're just finalizing for the project. The project includes some of the conceptual designs that have been reviewed as part of this working group, and also subject of meetings with COA. We're in the process of and then also there's links for 3 presentations, 2 that were done at board meetings, 1 select board, 1 COA, and then also video that EHS had put together. We're in the process of trying to pull together sort of like that next step. What ends up happening, LLB is right now doing some costing analysis. What we're going to be doing going forward is really identifying what are the next steps, how to bring Creative Building Project Committee, bring Pmbc in as well, look at what articles we may need for potentially going to annual town meeting for construction. And also on the fundraising side, Liz has talked a lot with Sam. Fortunately, Mark is, who's also on this call, is a COA member, and we're going to be taking steps to start to utilize the resources that were really pulled together for the library project. So I think looking forward over the next couple of months, there's going to be a lot more work, engagement, and hopefully we'll get this website up. We've been talking to town council as far as accepting donations through the website, and some of those other outreach fundraising efforts are things that we're pivoting to try to leverage as we start this new year.
So Joe, just to add to your comments, some metrics that the committee may be interested in. The total square footage is approximately 16,600 square feet. The budget is $10 million. That brings the square foot price in somewhere under $600 a square foot. It's a 2-level. So there's quite a bit of common space between stairwell, elevator, and hallway. Those were my takeaways at the last meeting. So I see Mike Scuduto's busily calculating over there. Any words of wisdom, Mike?
I'll have to look at some reference projects.
Okay,
I have enough resources.
I'm sure. And then to add to that, Anthony wants to put a fireplace in the foyer. I don't think that's going to make it.
No, they're not that expensive.
Okay, good to know.
Well, I mean, Santa's got to come in there somehow. Santa's got to find his way in. Maybe he'll use the front door.
Okay. Anything else, Joe?
Steve, or I should ask Joe, are these meetings, Zoom meetings, or how are they?
They have been Zoom meetings. They're primarily on the staff level. That's what we're going to be pivoting, especially once we start to, and we haven't had a discussion since before the new year. As we start pivoting to, bring in Pmbc, that's when things are going to change as far as bringing in other groups and other experts to help move this project forward. But the presentations have gone into some pretty good detail at the select board meetings as well as the COA meeting.
So, Bob, I did mention to Anthony and Joe that you wanted to be on the building committee, and they were very appreciative of your, willingness to participate.
Once things get rolling, I'd like to. Of course, we got to come up from Florida to do that.
This being able to meet with Zoom is a real lifesaver. I know
This is
it
great.
for me. Yeah, I was in Florida last week and conducted a meeting with the board in Boston. It was great.
Okay, well, enough about Florida. Anything else on the senior center, Joe?
No, unless you have any other questions.
Steve, I just looked up the chapter 7, 44, 47. The designer selection begins at 30,000. So under 30,
Mike, that's probably
also
enough.
free.
Yeah, we know it's 30,000. So
Yeah.
if you bring in design and then construction services, we're probably over 30,000.
Yeah. Oh, for that size job, sure.
Yeah, I mean, if you assume the budget's 10 million and soft costs are going to be what 1.5, 2 million, 8. Your design and construction services are going to be what 8% of 800,000, something like that. 64,000.
That's what the Mass building. That's the Mass School Building Authority tries to shoot for, around 9%.
Yeah,
8, 9.
So I think we have to go for competitive bid.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Yeah. All right. So Brian, if you want to kind of go in that direction.
Yep, I'll get the ball rolling on that. Get started.
That'd be great. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Member input, Bob.
Yeah, just one question on that, Steve. Who do we got to get in contact so Brian's got the money to work with?
Well, we'll get a hold of Steve Mark and make sure we can use that.
Not a lot of pepper.
We'll get a hold of Steve Mark.
I'm all set with any input.
Okay. Tamlin?
No, I'm all set. Sorry about that.
Okay. Bartlett?
I'm all set, thanks.
Rich?
I just want to report it was 83 degrees and sunny.
Be quiet.
Night, Rich.
It's
Thank you,
only
Rich.
73
Brian?
today.
Yeah, 73 today there.
Brian,
I'm all set. Thanks, Steve.
Mike,
All set, thanks.
and I have nothing. So, is there a motion to adjourn?
So
Motion
moved.
to adjourn?
That was a tie, so we'll give it to Tamlin.
Good, thank you.
Is there a
I think
second?
there was 3.
Second,
Bob
all
Romeo second it.
right.
Okay, all in favor, Bob,
Bob Romeo, yes.
Tamlin,
Kamala Rossius, yes.
Bartlett,
Bartlett, RV, yes.
Rich, we're not going to skip you this time.
Rich Crowley is a yes as well. Thank you.
Okay, Brian
Brian Pasquale, yes.
and Mike
Mike Scaduto, yes.
and Steve Moore, yes. And thank you so much for your participation. And Joe, thanks for joining us. And Kirby, thanks for putting up with us for the extended meeting duration.
Next meeting, the 26th.
Yes, everyone available for that?
Yeah.
Great. Okay,
All right.
Thank you.
have a great